Late on the night of July 18, 1969, a car driven by US Senator Ted Kennedy plunged off the Dyke Bridge on the tiny island of Chappaquiddick, landing upside down in the dark, cold water. 37-year-old Kennedy survived the crash, but the young woman riding with him in the car didn't. The newspaper headlines at the time identified her simply as a blonde. She was 20 years old, named Mary, a respected political operative. Kennedy later claimed that he tried to find Mary before making his way back to the cottage. He then drove back to the scene with his cousin, Joseph Gorgon, who both tried to reach her. But rather than report the accident to the police at that time, Kennedy returned to his hotel in Edgartown. As a result, Mary remained underwater for some 9 hours until her body was recovered the next morning. The details of what happened that fateful night remain unclear. Conspiracy theories and questions arose. How did Kennedy end up driving off the bridge? What were he and Mary doing together at that night? Was there a third person in the car? Why did he wait so long to report the accident? Mary likely didn't die at that time, but her final moments remained a mystery. When John Farrar, a driver of the local fire department, found her body the morning after the crash, its positioning suggested she had remained alive for an unknown period of time after the car went underwater. Her face was pressed into the footwell and her hands gripped the back of the front seat as if she had been trying to push her head into the pocket of air. While some observers of the case suspected she could have been saved if Kennedy had gone for help earlier. Kennedy later stated that Mary felt ill and that they were headed for the ferry to Edgartown, where both were staying in different hotels. To charge Kennedy with involuntary manslaughter, police would have had to establish that he did something illegal, like speeding or driving under the influence of drugs. But Kennedy didn't contact local police until 10 a.m. on the morning of July 19. After Mary's body had been found in his submerged car in the pond. Therefore, police were unable to arrest Kennedy's blood alcohol level at the time of the accident, and they had no other evidence of illegal activity. In the end, Kennedy pled guilty of the charge of leaving the scene of the accident and received a 2-month jail sentence, which was suspended, and a temporary driving ban. The 2018 film Chappaquiddick, whose script is based on this historical record, the film portrays the inner workings of the Kennedy political cliques as it worked to obscure the facts of the tragic incident from the public and save Ted Kennedy's political career from imploding. He knew at the time that the accident would be devastating to his family as well as damaging his political career. Kennedy wrote that his actions the night of the accident were inexcusable and that he made terrible decisions. What do you think of that? Was it really an accident or something more tragic? Do check other interesting stories on The Story of Why.